Hi, I'm Anna Olsen. Welcome to Insights into Consciousness during A1R Radio. Tonight, I am here every Thursday, 6:30 Pacific Standard Time, which is 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. Tonight, I'm going to go over the different types of intuitive abilities, however you want to phrase it, psychic abilities, extrasensory abilities, senses. I wanted to just kind of go into what exactly those entail and just give a little bit of an idea to people who aren't very familiar with these different types of abilities. Because the more classes I do with people, the more people that I speak to, the more I realize that these are not well known or often practiced with most people. And as somebody who does this for a living, I'm really realizing how it's not as familiar as I imagined with most people. So I just wanted to give my viewers a little bit of an insight into what these different senses are, why and how we use them, and how to protect. So the first thing that I'd like to go over before I take a caller is how you protect yourself first. So anytime you're going to use any extrasensory ability, any sort of reading, the first thing to do is to protect and to shield. So that just basically makes sure that you're on the right frequency, you're in the right vibe, you have the right good people by your side, your stuff is on the back burner, none of your baggage is in the way, and you have a sense of goodness and lightheartedness and love in the reading, because we all have our bad days, and readers too need to make sure that they're there and their stuff is in the back of their mind or out of the way when they're doing a reading. So I wanted to go over just a few things. First of all, most people do have psychic abilities or different, or sort of like a connection to their actual extrasensory abilities. Most of the time they don't know that they have it. And this is why I want to go over what these are, where they come from, and how to use them. So most people have at least one ability locked away in their mind and in their body that they can use. So mediumship is the deepest form of psychic ability, because all these abilities are sourced from the spiritual realm and our spirit. So mediumship is the deepest you can go into these extrasensory abilities, because when we talk to spirit, when we talk to somebody who's passed, the only way that they can communicate without a body is through all of these different extrasensory abilities. The only reason why we call them extrasensory is because we already have these five senses that we're very familiar with. And when we delve into these extrasensory abilities, that's basically just describing the way that spirits communicate naturally. And guess what? We have a spirit. So really, these are spiritual abilities. These come from our spirit. And the body is basically just a deterrent, or something that kind of gets in the way sometimes. It gets in the way with having a survival mechanism. It gets in the way with having attachments to things and worries and anxieties and fear of death and all these things that come with a body. So basically, we are a spirit with all these abilities already programmed or inherently in us. And we are trying to, in this life, master controlling our bodies and really reigning in our bodies again in a lot of different ways. The things that our bodies, want to do, which is kind of like a spoiled brat, and we have to rein that in, and that's why we make mistakes and we keep doing better. Inherently, our spirit is very good. Our spirit is, a higher, truer self. It's got a lot of knowledge. The bodies get in the way a little bit, but our spirits gain a bunch of experience by learning to control and take over the body and do better with controlling all the things that we are either tempted to do or that we have issues with. Nobody's exempt from that. And, another thing I think is really interesting is that the U.S. government has a lot of studies on this exact science. This is something that's studied through universities, different governments all over the world. And Governments also have psychic guards so that they don't have anybody coming in and getting information from the government. This is all real thing, real stuff. It's been going on a very long time, and that is a fact. I've also heard, but I am not like firsthand experienced with the fact that the lottery also has psychic guards. So they kind of block anybody who is intuitive or psychic or able to psychically come in and get past those guards or whatever. So it's really interesting how us human beings operate, and that this is a whole other side of everybody. Everybody has something. I noticed that women do this more in the way of healing, nurturing, and women are much more verbal about it. So when men are intuitive, and I feel really, really connected to the masculine psychic abilities and their intuition, because it just really balances out the feminine so well and so beautifully. Neither is better than the other, and neither is neither is more or less better than the other, do it better. So I just wanted to go over how men and women are different. Women tend to work more with the person one-on-one. They tend to do a lot more of the verbal exchange, a lot more talking and speaking, and, of course, the verbal language. The men tend to do it more on an instinctual level. Men tend to have more of an instinct about it, a guardian sort of a vibe, and men tend to also be more simple with less talking and less verbal involved. So the first one I just want to go through all of these. There's divination. Those are the ways that we get messages a lot of the time. And if there's a method to focus, because most people who do readings have some form of ADHD, or at least they could be categorized that way. When you pick up on so much stuff, you're going to be distracted. That's just how it is. It's just when you let's imagine having 5 senses and then add another like 8 to 12 on top of that. It's extremely distracting. I'm not new to the whole experience of somebody saying, what are you looking at? Are you okay? Are you distracted? It's when I'm with somebody, I really have to focus on them, because I get so many other messages, and I'm always hoping that other people are okay. So if I see somebody in public, I'm like, oh my gosh, this person's having a rough time. I have to really set my boundaries where I'm not worried about anybody else, and I'm just kind of focusing on me and able to focus on who I'm with. So that took me a while to get there. But that's been definitely a challenge for me, and I know it's been a challenge for a lot of other intuitives as well. The other is clairaudience, where you hear words, animals, and sometimes you can even get, physical reactions, kind of like coughing, somebody's coughing, or they're laughing. And you can kind of hear it. It's not like usually with your physical ears, but it can be. Usually it's sort of like if you get an idea and you kind of can hear yourself speaking, or it's sort of like in the mind. It's something that you have to really experience. Claircognizance is you just know. You don't know how you know. You don't know where you got the information, but you know. And it's confirmed to be correct over and over and over again. That's the secret of that one, is that you really need to have confirmation that it is correct for it to be claircognizant, that is accurate. So if you have a bunch of people who are coming in during a fair, when you're doing a psychic fair or something like that, you really need to have confirmation before you do something like that, where you're probably never going to see the person again, or the chances are they're going to have one reading, because you really need that confirmation that these things you're getting are correct. Clairscent is, scent, clairscent. Smells, where you smell your loved one's perfume, or you smell their cologne, or you smell cigarette smoke. That's my dad. Clairvoyance, where you see visions in the mind's eye. It's almost like it's playing on a movie, and you can either get flashes, or you can see symbolism, where you can say something kind of like, for instance, oh, I see a bird, and it's an eagle. So that was one that I got, and the person's father was an Eagle Scout as a boy. Retrocognition is, retro from the past. So you're seeing or being shown events that have passed. Remote viewing, they say that this is used a lot in the military. I've never spoken to anybody who's used it in the military, but I keep hearing that over and over, that remote viewing is something that spies are used. And remote viewing, I do that pretty regularly, especially to find parking spots at Costco. Very, very, very valuable that way. I guess I could start using it for other things, like, if I really wanted to spy on somebody. No, I'm just kidding. I wouldn't do that. It's really important that you, set boundaries on what you do. And when you use these gifts, if you have them, that you always do it with everybody's best interest in mind, and that that was a total joke. You just really need to practice boundaries with other people. Being in somebody's space and doing something like that is really not okay. Or I've learned that if you do that, sometimes your senses can be limited or taken away. That's just my experience. So you really have to really respect other people's space, their boundaries, and do this the right way, with love and light. Aura reading is, everybody has an electromagnetic field surrounding their body, and we all have it. It's usually used in correlation with the empathic or empathy skill set of the extrasensory abilities. Many religions have art depicting auras, like around the head for, Mary and baby Jesus or Buddha. You'll see this in a lot of religious art. So religion, I think, also really acknowledges the use of auras or the existence of auras. Also, empathy is you feel what others feel. We know this intellectually. We use this in psychology as a way to describe how somebody can relate emotionally, intelligently to someone else, and how someone else feels, and how much that they can comprehend what that person may be going through. Some people have empathy to such a degree that they really need to block and shield, like me, before they go to a restaurant or, out somewhere on an airplane, especially, or a hospital, especially. That can be really awful, as a matter of fact. But it's just some people, you can feel other people's pain as if it's happening to you. Suddenly it's so real to you, and you're feeling if you get an anxiety attack or something like that. So it's really good if you're an empath. You do a lot of this empathy reading to learn how to shield and protect from that happening when you're just trying to live life and go about your day without being bugged by other people's baggage. And while we're here to help people, it's also important that you keep yourself really safe and shielded so that you can be of service to everyone else too, and to, deal with your own life and make sure you're healthy. Telepathy, reading people's thoughts. This is how we connect to the dead. We're reading their thoughts. They're sending us thoughts, and we're picking up those thoughts, and then they're observing what's happening. They're also receiving our thoughts in return. And it's a conversation just like any other. I also practice telepathy with other people who are alive and in their bodies, and usually they're intuitives. It could be friends. I do this with my mother oftentimes. Most of the time when people are practicing telepathy, they do not realize that they are practicing it. They just go, oh, I was just thinking about that. And really, they're practicing telepathy. The better you get at it, the more you acknowledge it, and the more you build on it, the more you will realize you're picking up on someone else's thought, or you are communicating. I have a good friend that we communicate regularly with telepathy. My mom and I connect regularly with telepathy. It's very common amongst families, especially mothers and children. Telepathy is fun. It's really, you don't have to worry about somebody taking thoughts out of your head that you don't want them to know, because you pick and choose what you express from your thought process in telepathy, just like speech. So you don't have to worry about that around me. Don't worry if I'm around you, I can't tell what you're thinking. Don't worry in that way. In addition, automatic writing is to write without prior thought or preparation in an altered consciousness. So instead of stopping and going, what do I want to write about? And then you go, I think I'll write about this. Once you get an idea down, you're just starting to write. And much of the time, information can come through automatic writing. So in addition, psychometry is an object reading where you're touching or feeling an object and you're getting messages or things, thoughts, all these different sensory abilities will come through an object too. There's also energy feeling like Reiki. Mediumship is the deepest. Telekinesis is controlling objects with the mind. There's astral projection, which is traveling outside your body. Mostly kids do this. Adults do it as well. Scrying is like peering into the crystal ball and seeing things in something kind of an altered consciousness. And, you have to be really careful with people who may say about being in an altered consciousness, as long as you are in a protected place. Altered consciousnesses are basically the same as when you're meditating. And people meditate, and it really improves health all the time. I'd like to take a caller quickly. Her name is Michelle, and she is in Canada. Yeah. Michelle, are you there?
Yep, I'm here, hon.
Hi, Michelle. How are you tonight?
Hi, not bad. How are you?
I'm fine.
So where are you from?
What's that?
My night is busy. My night is busy, always busy.
Oh, yeah. So how can I help you tonight?
Okay. Well, there's been a lot that has gone on in this area since I've moved here. And there's kind of two questions that I would like to ask, but they kind of join each other since I've moved to the city of Sarnia. One I would like to know is if Sarnia is the place where I should be in it. And the other is the man that I know and that I've been with since I've come here. Is he the right person for me?
Okay, I'm kind of wondering, if you meet the guy beforehand and you kind of moved to be closer to him?
Pardon me?
I'm wondering if you met the guy before moving there and you kind of moved there to be closer to him?
Kind of. I left a situation that was kind of abusive when I came here, and this was a close friend, yes.
Yeah, because what I'm getting with you moving there was, you're kind of starting over, and I understand it was for good reason. The intention was good. What I'm getting is, it's not wrong per se. You chose it, and I feel like you'll do well wherever you are. The thing is that I don't know that you have a lot of information about this guy as much as you could have, and you're going to get to know him better, and you're going to find out some things that are going to surprise you.
I have been of most recent, yes.
Okay. He's not a bad guy, but he is lonely, and he really wanted some companionship. It's just that I feel like there's some things that he has said that are not entirely truthful, and a lot of people do that when they first are seeing someone, or they really want to get on their good side. They really want that companionship. So I don't want you to get,
he talks really weird about shedding layers, and I don't understand that.
Oh, he's talking about shedding layers, opening up to you?
Yeah, I believe. I don't understand the term, but that's from what I can take.
Yeah, I think what he's talking about is opening up to somebody. He has, I feel, a past, and maybe it involves addiction of some sort.
Yes, lotteries and, yes.
Right. And, when somebody deals with addiction like he has, with the past that he has, he'll only open up very slowly because he's worried that there's going to be a lot of judgment involved and scare you away.
Oh, okay. That makes a lot of sense to me. Yes. Very much a lot of sense.
Yes. And he's, what I would love, the thing that I see happening for you that would benefit you the most is to put this guy on not like the main part of your life. I know this isn't always what you do. I'm just saying, like, make sure that it doesn't go there, that you have your own life in this new place. You go and do things you love to do. You make sure that you're, kind of meeting your people outside of this relationship with him. Because if he's too much of your relationship circle, then it'll be overwhelming for you. And I really want to see you doing things that you love, going to a place that, you enjoy your time there, have your own thing.
Back to because the country, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just feel like you can make whatever you want work, to work, you'll make it work. And I feel like you really have a lot of strength in you. It's just, this guy's going to take from you if you get too close, just because he's just still working on his stuff. And he'd be a good, have you ever heard of like the Sunday analogy with men, where our lives should be if our lives were a Sunday, the man shouldn't be like this, the main part of it, especially when you're dating. He should just be the sprinkles, and like all the other things you love is the ice cream and the hot fudge and the whipped cream and all of that.
Yes.
So he needs to just be the sprinkles.
Yeah, the topping. Yeah, the topping on the cake. I relate very well to what you're saying.
Good. So every time he starts to get where he's wanting a lot of your time, which is okay, he's needy too. He's lonely, and that's okay, But when he needs a lot of your time, I just want you to imagine the Sunday in your mind, and he just needs to be the sprinkles.
Yes. Yeah. I know exactly what you're saying. Because the reason I was asking that is because of things that have happened in the past. And I'm kind of like you in some ways with what you're doing right now. But sometimes it's very hard to look at yourself in reverse. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
And in the long run, it feels like it should be right, and it feels like it's right, and like roads have crossed before, but it's like I don't want to take the chance of pouring it all out and getting hurt again, because it just seems like that's all that has gone on since I've moved here.
That's not good. Well, I feel like it would be fine as long as you have your circle. You have your friends, you have your life already established, and he's basically just that little extra. Because otherwise, I don't think it working out. It won't work out if he's too much a part of your life and you're too much a part of his right now. You guys need a lot of work. You guys should just be more of a support for each other.
Yeah, we need to work on ourselves before we work on the we part.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Is it? Yeah.
Yes, and you're so strong. You have a strong personality. So whatever you focus on, I really feel like you will do well with. You just have to focus on the right things first, and then he's the extra. So I have about a minute left, so I'm going to get going. But I wish you luck with it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I greatly appreciate this a lot.
Of course. And I love talking to you. I'm glad you called in.
Well, thank you very much. And, I'm totally amazed because everything that you said I can relate to, and especially about the circle, because I've noticed my friends have more become my circle and my family than what family has. So I can relate very well, and I kind of got a smile when you said that.
That's what I hope for.
Well, thank you very much.
You're so welcome, and just have a wonderful night and good luck with it. I know you'll do well.